These are my upgrades for Makuta Icarax. Hello. Um, so I started by giving him a much more cooler sword and a different hand to wield said sword. Sorry. I gave him 2 shoulder pads to make it because I thought he was a bit skinny before, so I wanted to bulk him up a bit. But yeah, it's kind of meant to be like the 2 shoulder pads are adorned with the skulls, I guess, of those he has slain. This one I specifically chose because if you've seen the fan film which I posted called icarax, then you know whose head that is. I don't know if that character actually had a name, but still, if you know, you know. Right. Next thing I did is I completely redid his left arm and his shield. Now his actual mechanism looks a bit different. That's because now it is properly locked in place. Because before it was just a sort of loose piece. Stop messing with my drawings. It was a loose. It was kind of like one of these, the black one here, and essentially, if something stopped you could technically keep on twisting this, but it wouldn't spin, and it just seemed a little bit meh to me. And I had mixed feelings when I got this guy, and I saw the actual mechanisms, and because I'm like, how did they do this? How did they get it to be like that? Because I assumed that it was a much more harder mechanism, because before you could hold this and then you could just turn that. But I made some adjustments and now it's much more solid, so that it does not, so that you can't like turn this without. God damn it! It's the camera curse, where if the camera's on, they do not listen ever. MGO knows all about this. But yes, I have made this a much more solid piece. I also repurposed his right. I always interpreted this as a hand, as just like his claw. I also added the shin pieces here. And I'm not gonna lie, I saw there was an image online where these were, it's in this, and that's kind of where I got my inspiration. I don't know who made it, but I guess credit to them for some of the designs, although, to be fair, I probably would have done the same thing. What was completely my own, aside from, the shoulder pads, and these are these wings. It took me a great deal of. All right, I'm gonna you sit right here. You're gonna sit here and you're gonna look pretty. You're gonna stay right there. So these wings I made over the course of days, because at one point I was going to use a different set of wings, and then I had to work with a lot of this because I was very excited about getting. God damn it! adjust these here. So I made these while during the days in the days preceding until Christmas, and I had many redesigns, and this is the end result, and it is glorious. And it might not seem like it, but these things, I'm very proud of myself for this. Because for starters, you can adjust these two. But the thing about this one is that this one, the way they're designed, is essentially they lock in place. And you can sort of get them to go back in a little bit when it's out, but usually this holds that place. And if you have them folded up like so, you can't move it without opening that piece, so it's not just going to flop around, and they're both like this. And I was quite proud of myself for designing it that way. Originally, they were going to be a bit more different. They were going to have a bit more like stuff on them, but I had to use some of the parts, like the original end wings that I was going to use were going to be the same, and were going to be the same wings as Makuta Antras, and I decided that I wanted to keep those wings, or wing really, because I'm missing one for Makuta Antras. Yeah. I also, because I didn't care for the wing setup he had whenever I saw him in pictures, and specifically in the aforementioned uh, icarax fan film. But yes, I was quite happy with. I was quite excited. I mean, to get this guy. I was originally disappointed because it turns out that the person we got him from on eBay. This is mostly due to not reading the fine print, and but the mask, you see, might seem a bit off. That's because it's not the mask that came with icarax. And I failed to notice this when I was buying him. And unfortunately, it turns out that this is a 3D printed mask, which would not be such a big deal were it not for the fact that it's a bit smaller than the regular one. Now I eventually was able to get it to work because I'm like, I did not wait and build all these upgrades for him over all this time just to essentially be screwed over. I said, no, I am going to make this work, and I did make it work. And you can see how I was able to fit that, and I was able to keep it in with this, and yeah, it looks good now. And again, it wouldn't have been as big a deal if it was the proper size and was able to fit on the head, and if the setup wasn't as wonky. But oh well, I made it work. But I think that's about everything. And you can still eject his Tridax pod from his chest. There you go. There you go. But yes, this has been my I guess review showing, I don't know what to call this, of my upgrades to Makuta Icarax. I figured I'd show these off so that people could, so that people would be able to use these designs on their own figure if they wanted. But Oh, and I forgot to mention the way that I wanted this to be designed was so that essentially this thing could fold up and be moved out of the way for whenever he wants to use his regular grabby claw on things. Yeah, yeah, I see you. I see you. Give me my money. Give me my cocaine, bitch!